welcome back to Meet the Authors. So glad you could have us come back into your home because we have another great author today, a local fellow who is written poetry and science fiction. He's got this very creative mind, and we want to welcome Willie Dinish Jr. Hi, Willie.
How are you doing? Thank you.
I am great. It's so good to have you join us. And I've been looking over your books, and they're pretty interesting. So today you're going to tell us first about your poetry book, huh?
Yeah,
This is
book
your
of
camera.
poetry. It's called
So you used your book?
And it's just a book of love poems. Hopefully it's quite enjoyable, I think. And I hope everybody will appreciate it.
And so it's a poetry book of love poems, you say.
Yes.
And you were telling me that you wrote this book because of you married your second wife, you married and just became inspired about love. So tell us about that.
Well, I guess what it was, I had a different way of looking at things once I got married the second time. And so I just started feeling certain ways and wanted to write it down and express it. And that's what I did.
So that's what you did. And,
yeah.
And when did you start writing these poems?
I think it's about 8 years ago.
8 years ago you started writing poems. And
yeah.
when did the book come out?
The book came out in 2015.
2015, so about 5 years worth of poetry.
Right.
And how many poems in your book?
It's the number. I had to actually look at it, see there.
Yeah, roughly.
I think it's about 75 poems in the book.
75 poems. That's a good number of poetry poems. One for, I guess, every other week. Every week you can read a poem and have some left over.
Yeah, when a thought hit me, I guess I took and write it down, and that's what I know. I do. I write it down when a thought hits me and let it grow from there.
And these are mostly love poems.
Yeah.
Talking about poems.
Yeah.
So do you read them to your wife? And
yes, we read every once in a while. We take time out and I read to her, and she enjoys them.
Yeah, well, read one for us. Can you read us a poem?
Okay, I have one here. It's called "Beautiful Woman."
Oh, I like that. No wonder you're writing about your wife. If you have a wife, to call her a beautiful woman. That's good advice.
28. Okay. All right. Beautiful woman, love of my life, love me forever. For I am the man who will love you to that which is beyond forever. Beautiful woman, love of my life, be the love that lasts for always. Be the love that shines and gives happiness to my world. Be the love that holds my heart until the ends of time. Beautiful woman, love of my life, let me not stand in love alone. Take my hand, hold my heart, and be in my life forever. Beautiful woman, love of my life, let the world sing about love as our future is seen by others, as it is made in heaven and blessed by the Lord forever. Beautiful woman, love of my life, let the light that grows from my smile when you are near. Beautiful woman, love of my life, know that my heart beats to hear your voice and to know that you are near.
How lovely. Be the beautiful woman, let the world hear of my love. I love that line. That is really beautiful. Really projects your heartfelt love for this lady. How long have you been married now?
5.5 years.
5.5 years. That's great. I like second marriages. I mean, there's nothing wrong with first marriages. Nothing wrong with marriage lasts a long time. But as you mature, sometimes you find that you go apart and you find someone else now that you really share that last part of your life with. It's not lovely. What does she do?
She works for Gulf Distributing, which is a local Mobile brewery in Mobile, Alabama. Which she's a reconciliation specialist. I mean, she does the accounting for them. So.
And you work at Kiesel, you told me, right?
No, I used to work at Kiesel. Currently, I'm working for the Mobile County School Board.
The school board in Mobile County.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very worthwhile. You did military 20 years. Now you have your second career going, huh?
Yes.
And a third career as a writer.
Right. Hopefully, a third career takes over the second.
That's right. And then this book. Tell us about this book.
This book is called A Quiet Mind. It's just a
show it to the camera. This is your camera here.
Sci-fi book. Something that once again was in my mind, in my head, and it's a short story, and it's about an individual who is really don't know who he is or what he is. Really, it's sci-fi, so you can use your imagination to do anything. And I turned him into a kind of like a superhero, but he's not really quite sure what he is or who he is, because he's been living all his life, all his known life. But before he was a man, he was a woman. Before he was a woman, he was an entity. So it's just.
Yeah, I've read some of this. It's really an unusual type plot. It starts off, there's a 1600s, there's a witch,
Yeah.
and then this guy goes deep in the future. He's like 250 years old in the prison. It's like really quite a interesting concepts for a sci-fi story. I really found that quite interesting. How did you get inspired? Where did you get the ideas for writing your book?
I really can't tell. I just something that pops in my head, and I won't write it down.
How long did it take to write this book?
Well, this book is about 15 years old.
15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first book took me 20 years to write. I know what that's like. You want to get it down, want to get it right, and you're learning the trade as you write.
Yeah.
And you have another sci-fi in the works, you tell me, huh?
Yeah, I have a few. I have one that's called Return of the Children.
Return of the
Children.
Sugar?
Children.
Oh, children. Return of the children, sure.
And once again, it's off the deep end. It's about a generation of earthlings that left the earth during the time, actually before the time of Christ, and they lived in a new society, in a different world, and they realized that this world that they live in is not really theirs, and they are on a mission to return home. But the mission to return home is to a whole different concept and different world that they didn't know anything about.
Yeah, can you imagine growing up in a time period of whether you were in 1000 BC, you didn't have any cars or electricity, and suddenly you come back and you see airplanes flying and all that. That's really, you know, you're a quiet guy, but deep in his head, there's a lot of strange thoughts going on.
Yes, I'm afraid there are. Nothing serious, just thoughts.
That's
thoughts.
Really nice.
Yeah.
And did you want to read another poem? Or
yes, I guess I can read another one. No
okay.
problem. Let's see this one here. Like my book is indexed, so I can look in the back and find what book or poem I want to read and tell you what page it's on. So I think it's a good thing.
It is, makes it a lot easier.
Page 10.
I have a poetry book that's not indexed. I came out with a book about my father's poetry and mine. It's sort of chronological, but if I want to find the book, I'm turning the pages real quick and trying to look it up. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready. This one is called Raining. Love, it's raining outside, and my mind went to cozy things, like holding you in my arms, like kissing you twice, just cozy things. Love, it's raining outside, which makes me feel lighthearted and gay as I think of you this day. Love, it's raining outside, and the idea of rain falling makes me feel happy and joyous, but the happy and most joyous moments are those moments spent with you.
Isn't that sweet? Love is raining outside. It's an interesting concept. I wouldn't have put that together, but I really like that concept. Very nice. So where can people get your books?
Well, they're online at Amazon. They're online at.
Can you contact this number? I see. They can
contact the number. The Black Ink Coalition is our address. We have books there. And we also have a little publishing company. This is self-published.
Okay.
So we are.
And your son does the publishing, I heard.
My son does the publishing also, yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. It's good to have someone do that. I do a little publishing every now and then for some friends through Creative Space, and people nowadays, you know, anybody can get themselves published. So if you have a book, you have poetry, something like that, be sure you fulfill your dreams and get that book out there. Tell about your soul.
Yeah.
And you're working on the sci-fi, and you're doing more poetry as well?
Yes, I'm working on a second edition of this.
A second edition,
yeah.
All new poems?
All new poems, yeah.
And how many poems do you have together so far?
Well, I only started this recently. I only have about 8.
8 poems to get started? Yeah, well, that's all right. There's no hurry, you know. You never know what the future holds. So, what else are you doing these days? You write, and you're still working at the school board. How's that work out? What's the school board like?
Well, I'm working in the school board in different capacities, so this has nothing to do with my writing. So that's principally it. I do go to the Writers Guild, and I do poetry at the
Mobile Writers Guild.
Yeah, Mobile Writers
Yeah.
Guild.
And do you sell books there?
Yes, I sold a couple there.
Yeah.
And we are attempting to have another book signing in December to once again publish the Thoughts poetry. And getting me Christmas time, it's a great Christmas gift.
Yeah. They're going to have a book signing at the Jubilee, right?
Yeah, I plan to be there.
Participating in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in Mobile, right?
That's in Mobile, yeah.
Where? Do you know? Where's the Jubilee held? The
It's going to be
Coliseum?
at the same bookstore, I think.
Okay.
Mobile,
What's the name of the bookstore? All right, some bookstore mobile. Well, we'll look it up, get it
Yeah.
online for you later. All right, well, it's so great to have you. Thanks for coming in and joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for
All right.
having me here.
And we'll be back next week with more Meet the Authors. Meanwhile, you can see all of our old shows on the YouTube station, youtube.com, my name, Philip Levin. And you can get most of people's books if they're available through Amazon. I put them on my website. Go directly on my website, and you can pick those up.
Imagine an era of renewed prosperity, underwritten by a job-creating economic stimulus, powered by abundant clean energy sources. America's clean energy sector already employs more people than the oil and gas fields. So imagine the jobs that would be created if we got serious. This is our future, America. This is the plan. Visit citizensclimatelobby.org. Working together, we can build a better, more prosperous future.